It's Seiji with MaJali, and my guest today is a rapper, he's a hip hop artist, he's a producer, a songwriter. His name is Chad the Don. Mr. Chad, welcome to Seiji, and thank you
Thank
for
you.
choosing to share as you grow.
Thank you.
We've known you in the music industry. You've
Yeah.
been active as a hip hop artist,
Yeah.
but people don't know more about you as an entrepreneur. And
Yeah.
today we get to hear the side of you as an entrepreneur. Tell us the journey, where it started, and how you found your love for entrepreneurship within your music.
Um, it started even way before music. I mean, my parents were always business people, coming up. And I was actually a South African soccer player. I did sport,
Wow.
and I used to just listen to music. We had faced a bad thing that had happened to the family, something really deep. And through that I would listen to music and it would get me through,
Yeah.
and eventually there was a church conference of like 7,000 people and they needed a rapping act. So I was like, I started a Christian rap group. I did a song and then it went so well that it just took off from there. And then I was like, wow, I need to take this seriously. And then the business started for me. With going further into music, I decided to take it seriously and not just do Christian rap, but like rap for the world.
Okay.
And let you find us. See this mommy trying to get it, say she with it, trying to hit it. I don't know if I'ma hit it. I should probably let her know.
When you started your company, did you want to start it to produce music for yourself, or you wanted it to be for other people as well?
I wanted it to be for other people. I have a deep love for producing great music for artists. I know my ear's great, so it's like I could picture exactly what I want to hear and give you exactly that. So I have a deep passion for that, but also starting a label, you have to realize that if the main established artist who established the label isn't big enough to where he needs to be, that's also going to interfere. So I had to like really get to a point where like I want to be happy with what I've done before I
Okay.
can move on, So yeah.
So can you say that people mostly get attracted to the label because of the artist that started the label themselves, or
I think it would be different. I think it would be opportunity that the label's giving you. For my instance, I've got a producer that's like now with me, Avian, and he's 23. He produced Gwala with me and Kelly Kumalo. That's huge for him. So like what I'm
Yeah.
doing with him is whoever I help out, I give them a lot of freedom in my label.
Okay.
I say you earn what you do. It's not like I'm here to take from you. I'm here to build. I'm just there to open opportunity up for you. Obviously, the funder always needs a cutback. That's how you get your investment back. But I just think sometimes everybody's different. Every label's different. I just want to give the artist his freedom though, and not like own him, because I feel that's
Yeah.
when the love goes out the door and it becomes a bit ugly. Yeah.
And I think that it has this been some sparks in the industry around that, where
course.
labels and artists are fighting. How do you always ensure that you have your artist's best interest at heart when you take them on into a label?
Anybody who I do work with anyway is like, that I would like agree to, we become friends first. Even though you can't mix friendship with business, I need them to get to know me first and what my motives are and what I'm about. And if they like my vision and they suit my vision and they're like, yo, I want to run with this, can I be a part of it? Then I consider it and I see the talent and I'm like, yeah, this can go somewhere. I also don't want to say yes. I'm not a yes man who says yes to something and then it doesn't work out. I want to put my 100% into that. So for me, it starts off with chilling, getting to know each other, getting to know the vision, and are we on the same page? And if we are, then we can take it from there.
So is that how you almost kind of vet everybody that comes through?
Yeah, anybody that's like that, I'm gonna work with. I mean, like I said, Avian was like, it was unplanned. I met up with him. He's just like a great talent, and he started making beats, and I was like, yo, all I can do for you, you want to be part of my label, be part of my label. I can open up opportunity for you, and you can grow too. So, but the benefit of that is I get beats made specially for me. I have
Yeah.
an in-house producer that's here always. So that's how it works. It's business too.
And as a businessman, which one do you find more rewarding or fulfilling? Is it finding an artist who is coming up and
Yeah.
you say, I want to partner with you under my label? Or is it having that raw ear for talent and you say, this person has potential, and that's where the satisfaction comes in?
I think it's a bit of both. I think like I'd like to see either one work. Just sometimes it's either or. Sometimes you find somebody who's actually not really giving music their all, but they're super talented, and they do give it a shot, and then it works out because of their talent, and they didn't really believe, and they don't even really try too hard, and then there's some people who need to work extra hard, but they have got the talent to do it. We all have the potential to do it, so every individual is different. But for me, I like it when it's raw talent, it's raw pure talent, and the person is hungry, they're starving, they just like they count on music to make it. That's when I'm very interested. Yeah.
So you wouldn't say that pure talent is all that you need. It's also the hunger behind it.
The hunger behind it
gets you to be successful.
A lot of people always tell me funds, funds. Yeah, I don't want to lie to you. If somebody else has funds, yes, it makes it a bit easier, definitely. But you can't tell me that your God that we serve is not a fair God. I mean, I know a lot of people who come from nothing and had less than other people and made it bigger than anything else, So it's like there is no excuses. If you want it, you will get it, But you also got to make sure that this rapping thing is for you. I see so many young people come into it thinking they've got this picture of how it's going to be, and it's really not that, It is really not all bubbles and honey and all
the
nice,
Instagram lifestyle.
The Instagram life. Sometimes it's really, this is work, this is a job. This is like, even though it's fun and we love it, like there's a lot that goes behind it, a lot of thought, PR, a lot of, there's so much, and then it's also, like I said, it's got to be for you. It's got to be your purpose in life. If it's not, it's going to be really tough. Yeah.
And with all of these things that you're mentioning PR, you're mentioning, the work behind it, how did you manage that when you started your production company? How did you manage the PR, manage the
To be
HR,
honest with you,
finance?
to be honest with you, I've been very fortunate. I mean, God blessed me with the right people at the right time.
Okay.
And I've seen if you take certain steps and this thing is meant for you, he'll send the right person on the next level, and then you'll reach the next level, and you'll be like, how am I going to do that? And then he'll send somebody else through your hunger and through your journey, and it has to be that way. If it was for me, it has to be that way for the other person, but obviously with different people, but whoever God places in their life. That's why it's so important to walk the journey and not just expect that this thing's going to happen. It's not magical, it's a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. If you're an independent label, a lot of money yourself goes into it, I haven't been signed to anybody before, so everything is funded from this and my management, which is my mother. And we've built this company up from the start, and she's believed in me. And it's been a lot of hard work, though, a lot of stressful nights.
As an entrepreneur, you don't sleep.
No, not at all.
At first, they say you become the IT man, you become the accountant, you become everything as an entrepreneur.
That's true.
What are the lessons you have learned starting this business from scratch? Especially as you're saying, you had to self-fund it. Without the funding from other investors, what have been the challenges in the journey? And how can you advise somebody who wants to start their own, so that it becomes a bit of a smoother process?
You know what? The truth is that there is no smooth process. That's the hard reality that people don't want to hear, Yes, you can take less, or you can make less mistakes and take a path where, you can just be smarter about things, certainly. But you're still going to have to make your mistakes in your journey to learn what not to do. I don't think anybody can tell you that. I mean, we can give you tips, but, I'm basically here to say, if you walk the walk, you're going to walk through fire, you're going to walk through a lot of troubled years coming up, but, that just be ready for it, because if you've got the head for it, and you've got the mind, and you've got the heart and the spirit and God on your side, you can do it. You can do it. It's just not as easy as people think it is. Otherwise, everybody would be a star,
Yeah, true. Yeah. And for you, during the times where it's not so easy, what keeps you going? What keeps you coming back and working on what you believe in, your vision?
Definitely part of that is my wife, Kelly. She's an inspiration to me when I can't give up because of her, And obviously my family, God plays a huge role in my life, because the purpose is so much bigger than music. It's for people. My calling is to motivate people out there and inspire people who have been through rough times like I have. So it's bigger than myself, and sometimes when you're down, it's just my wife picks me back up, with a few words of encouragement, and you got a purpose, you got to do this, people are waiting for you, people are relying on you. And that's it for me.
The support structure.
The support structure is very important. The people who you keep around you. energies are very important in this, you know.
Yeah.
But that's also going to come with you learning and walking the walk. I think, like, as you walk, you learn. People who say you're your friends aren't really your friends, you know, and you have to learn that in business. You're going to get backstabbed. You're going to be let down a few times, and that's part of the journey. That's why I say you got to walk it. There's no way to avoid that, even if you're smart.
It will happen,
It will
because
happen.
you know there are so many people come into your life for the wrong reasons.
It's meant to test your character, you know. It's meant to build your character too. It's just how you see it. If you're gonna let that bring you down, or if you're gonna let it pick you up. So yeah.
And in your industry, when you're talking about character, you know, it's so important for you to brand yourself.
Yes.
Because if you're not a brand,
Yes.
you won't sell, basically.
Definitely.
And what tips can you give somebody in terms of who wants to brand themselves the right way so that they can become more successful? Because it's one thing to have a hit and it sells, and then it's not sustainable. And that's what we've been experiencing.
That's with the brand.
You know?
That's with the brand. I mean, if you look at Casper, that was very thought out. The ponytail, you know, Gusheshe, everybody knew it was him. That's a brand. We know that AKA is a brand, you know. You got to look that. You also got to be yourself. Like, you got to be yourself. You know what I mean? It's not going to work with Chad being a rapper trying to be a pop star. Do you understand what I mean? If I'm going to go try sing like Bieber, even if I practice that voice of mine for a long time, it's just not going to sell authentically. You know, it's not going to be authentic like me rapping, you know. The white Mutako boy, that's like, that sells. That's what we know, you know what I mean? And everybody else's commercial isn't anybody else's commercial. I mean, what made me commercial was a white boy speaking Tswana. Now that's commercial for me.
Yeah.
Whereas another person tries to do it, it's not going to work for them. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's where you got to realize, keep to me. What is my strong points? Look at yourself and love yourself. Find what's good for you and find your strong points, and then build on that. That's the start, you know. What do I have that somebody else doesn't have? Because you certainly do. That's why we're all different. You know what I mean? And find that thing. And then you got to brainstorm about, where can we take this thing? Get the right people involved. It's not going to help you just doing it yourself. I've taken advice from a lot of people. A lot of times I wish I didn't take that advice from those people. But, you know, a lot of the times I've also learned a lot. So the journey is the key to get through here in this music industry. If you can last that,
And it's such a difficult industry to be in, because everybody is all about you today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow they're not about you.
Yeah, if you make a mistake, I mean, it was funny. Just the other day, you know, they were dissing me and saying, this and this, because I put a track out for Casper, and then the next day they'll love you again, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's really, you got to be so strong.
How do you survive that? Because it's the same person who was dissing you yesterday who's singing your praises today, and you need to think this is not personal. It's
you know,
business.
it's not about them, and you don't live for them. And when you get to that where you just don't care about what people think anymore, you're living for God, and you do the right things, and you just keep the positive vibes. That's all it's about. You'll be good.
So it's really focusing on why you're doing what
Why
you're
are we doing this? And don't get caught in the hype. Don't get caught in the clout. Don't get caught in that little thing that you think is necessary for you to do, because it's really not. Today you can be up, tomorrow you can be down. You know what I mean? So I've seen it time and time again. So be humble and be grateful for your blessings too. Not everybody gets to the top though, you know.
That's true. And once you're there, you know, it's so sad that so many times we see our South African artists at the top, you know,
down,
and then they come down, and at the end of their journey, they've got nothing to show for it, you know. And so many times it happens to our local artists. What advice do you have, or how does one make sure that, you know, I plan in such a way that even if I'm down, I can still sustain myself, my brand, and my music?
By being humble all the time, even no matter how good you are, you know, no matter how great you think you are, just remember that as quick as it was given to you, it's as quick as it can be taken away. So what's kept me is being humble. You know, nobody you know better than other man, you know, like, yes, when we're competing in rap, you got to believe you're the best, and we're competing, you know, that's cool. But I'm talking about in general life. Have respect for people, have respect for yourself, have principles of God, you know, and don't ever take that for granted. Stay humble no matter how big the success, because a lot of times, like I said, they do it once and then they think, haha, this is it, I'm gone, you know. And yeah, it's like I said, as quick as you get it, it can go. So you got to stay humble, you got to stay true to yourself, and it's not easy. Sometimes people who come from nothing, especially, get all this money, and I don't blame them, because sometimes it's like, what? I don't know what to do
How do
with
you
it,
manage it?
So it is tough. Also, it's just that I say once again to the support structure and having clever people around you, who know how to deal with money and make your money grow. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
because I think that's one of the things that maybe we lack.
I need
is-
that. I love to spend money. So, my support structure, is very
Has groomed
important.
you. It's
Yeah.
like, no, you don't
No,
spend
you can't do
everything.
that, because it's like, yeah, you're gonna fall in a bit of trouble. Yeah.
So you think as a record label, you have some sort of a responsibility towards assisting an upcoming artist in managing funds?
Of course, I
especially-
mean, it's my job to give them all of that advice, and handle their things the right way, and that's what I offer. That's different. I offer you advice that you won't get from anybody else unless they own a label too. But I keep it free, man. I keep it like no grudges, no hold on you. Whatever we agree on is there on paper, and it's in paper, so that both of us know that was the agreement. We shook on it. 10 months down the line, if you're unhappy, it's still on black and white. You
Yeah,
sign that
still
paper.
refer
So
back to
you know what I
contracts.
mean? Yeah, but we keep it chilled by, I want you to be free. I want you to like have your creative say in things. It's not just about the label saying, no, this won't work, that won't work. I don't believe in that always. I believe advice is good, but sometimes, they know what they're doing too. The artist knows what they're doing too and why they want to do it. So yeah.
And do you think that record labels have had too much hold on artists to a point where an artist can lose who they are because they trying
Yeah,
to do
definitely.
so much
We
of
all
what the
know,
label
we've seen
wants?
that happen time and time again, where people get forced into being something they're not. And I believe you have to compromise here and there, get a song that's like this. I understand that, but I mean, not to the point where you're changing this person's whole being. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So you lose your voice in that process.
You
And
do. I mean, they own you sometimes, but also, like I said, you sign that paper. So I think they have all right to on black and white.
yeah,
So
it's
be
difficult
clever.
to own a person,
Yeah,
you know.
so be very clever. Don't just sign anything, read through your stuff. Know that this is why I'm doing it and this is what it's going to help me. But also, if you sign that paper, you sign that paper. Don't turn around then and say, nah, this is unfair. You read the paper. Make sure you read the paper before
And
you
how
sign
do you
it.
deal with a case like that where somebody signs with you maybe and you find that they were signing simply because they wanted, to push their career forward?
I won't
and
lie that
they
I've
wanted the money.
like I said,
basically.
I've never dealt with any of those things. I don't tend to, but I've been in a situation where it's like people close to me have dealt with that, and it just becomes an ugly thing. It doesn't. It's never nice. But once again, whoever signs that paper, if it's in black and white, it's in black and white, and
It's
you can't
difficult to
turn.
come
Yeah,
out
you
of.
can't turn away from that. Not that easily. So be careful with what you read and be careful with what you do.
So do you think it's best to wait until you get what you're really looking for as an artist instead of just taking the first thing that comes your way simply because you
You'll
want
know
to
from
make
God.
it
If
big?
you walk with God, you'll know what's right for you. Don't just take. Sometimes the best deal is the worst deal for you. You know what I mean? And this I've learned like through time and experience, and it's not always the best. Sometimes the grass always seems greener on the other side. It's not. So just be careful. I carry God with me, and I let God help me with my decisions. I got a support structure around me that helps me, on that. So yeah.
So what advice do you give, artists who say, I've tried this music thing. I think I have the talent. I'm trying it, but I'm just not getting the right connections. How do you advise them, for them to advance their career?
Gee, you got to give this thing your all. Like, nobody's gonna hand anything to you. That's the tough thing. You got to find those connections. You got to do whatever you can to get those connections. If you're googling places, if you walking into places, it will lead you onto the right people. You just got to keep looking. You just got to do your part, and God will do His part. But clearly, if it's not for you, it won't work out. So, if you've been trying this thing for long, and you can see it's not
not
opening
working
doors, and things are really not going your way, sometimes it's just not meant for you. And I don't think you have to be angry at that. I think you just need to make sure it's in your purpose and give it your best shot. Yeah.
Have you ever seen hard work in this industry not paying off? where somebody really is giving
I think there's a lot of
their
people
all.
that are underrated, and don't have opportunity like others. I do understand that. There is that. But I've also seen people who are in their position come through and make it happen. So I would be lying to say, why is that one? He must be doing something different. He must be a little bit more hungry. His hustle must be a little bit better. And God is a fair God. Like I said, he always comes through for you if you put yours in. So yeah, but there's a lot of people who don't have opportunity like others, unfortunately. It's sad. It's and there is no answer to that. That I don't have the answer to. God has the answer to all of those things. I wish everybody did.
Yeah,
But
true. And does your record label open itself up to anyone who says, listen to me, this is what I have going on, and you then decide whether it's for the label or not?
Yeah, definitely. I listen to stuff on my email all the time. A lot of the times I can hear they just don't have a clue with what's going on. Sometimes I find nice stuff. I mean, Avian, that producer, sent me a lot of stuff, and I was like, wow,
This is amazing.
this is amazing. So sometimes it will happen like that. Sometimes we'll see it. I'll be out and I'll see this guy performing, and like, you can see, or he'd say he produces his beats. You just meet them sometimes randomly, by being in the music industry and being around music people. And other times you just hear them on email. It's tough. It's tough to say how, but I've always met people. That's the weird thing, It's always, God's been good to me. Yeah.
And for the guys that send you stuff and you listen, do you pick up a common mistake, that you can advise up and coming artists to say this has been a common mistake,
I think, a lot of the times it's just not doing it for long enough. I think people just try it for a year or whatever and then say, sometimes, yes, you can cut it down to 2-3 years, but it's so much hard work. So most of the time it's like I give them advice on what to do, but doing that thing is going to come from experience and time.
So spending more time on your craft, basically.
Till you get it right. I mean, you also know what sounds right. And sometimes I get disappointed with people, like with their standards. They can hear that that's not.
But either way, they will send it.
But they will
out.
still send it like, yeah, it's dope. Why don't you work until you know that thing sounds, even if it takes you a year longer,
So people are impatient with themselves, basically.
I'm impatient, but I mean, it's a very patient game and it's a very hardworking game, yeah.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that advice, because I think a lot of people always wonder, why am I not making it?
That's
what
the truth.
makes me different from Chad?
That's the
because
difference.
I think I also have the talent as he does.
Yeah.
So it's spending time in your craft.
Doing whatever you can for your dream, to make your dream happen as much as you can. Fans aren't just going to come to you. You need to go and fetch fans,
Yeah, definitely.
And you're never big enough. Always remember that. Be humble. And if it's for you, I promise you, God will come through for you if you put the work in. Hard work, patience, prayer, and just, find the connects, hustle.
Yeah, thank you so much,
Thank you
Chad,
so much.
for sharing with us. As you guys heard it from Chad, it's hard work, it's patience, it's prayer, and God will come through for you. But most importantly, if you're an upcoming artist who wants to be in the industry, you need to work hard on your craft. It's not as easy as you see it on the Instagram live, but you have to work hard. It does come with sleepless nights. It's AJ with MaJali, and thank you for watching.